129S. And there was supposed to be a tech talk today, but it doesn't seem to be happening. They seem to have changed it into several weekly events that happen in the afternoon, so there won't be a tech talk, and supposedly if that's the last week, if I go down here. So what I figured I would do is just demonstrate SQL injection. I've already answered a few questions for it, and there's a lot of SQL injection projects, and we might as well get ahead on the Web Security Academy. So that's all I'm planning to do is demonstrate some Web Security Academy projects today, and then just answer questions. So let me get my burp up. As of course, the whole point of this thing is you need burp for almost all these challenges, although some of them are so simple you don't even need burp, but most of them you need burp. So there's burp, and as always, I've got to find proxy, turn off the intercept, open the browser, and then go to the Web Security Academy, which I've made my home page, and I'm already logged in, so that's handy because, as you probably noticed, the passwords they generate are like 25 characters random, so they're pretty annoying to deal with. But it remembers me, so I don't have to keep logging in all the time. All right, and now I can go to All Labs here. And SQL injection is right at the top. So let's just do a few of these. See, I solved a bunch of them earlier, and we'll just take a look at these. And this, I see, you've already done a SQL injection project that I wrote that should have got you started, and now you'll see how it looks in their web format. So the first few are ridiculously easy. I didn't even have to look at the hints for a few of these. So we go here, and there's a SQL injection vulnerability in a product category filter. And they show you what the product category filter does. It does what you think it would do. It selects data from products where category equals gifts, and something about released, which doesn't really matter to me. But the point is you control this category name. And therefore, you can insert an apostrophe in there and perform SQL injection. So here we are. Here's what these are, different categories like gifts. So I want to, as I usually do, just to make my life easier, I go to the history and clean out all the old stuff. I just like to do this, clear history, yes. Just makes it easier to find the good stuff. Now I open the gifts category, and here's the get that does gifts. So I send that to the repeater, and now I can modify it. And so here's the category gifts. And so if I put a single apostrophe here, what I often do to find SQL injection, then I send it. I get the response. Now it's an internal server error. Now, by the way, I just skipped over something. I shouldn't. We're going to see it later. Sometimes you cannot send it something from the repeater because it has an anti-CSRF token, so you can't repeat a previous request. So let's make sure I can. So if I get rid of that apostrophe and just send the unaltered request, it works. I get a 200 OK. And if I render it, it will show me it's working, showing me the gift. So that's the first thing. I can use the repeater. If that didn't work, I would have to use an intercept and modify a single request and keep making a new request. So now the apostrophe made it fail, but it doesn't let me see a SQL error message or anything, which would really be handy. All it shows me is internal server error. So this is pretty common, but not as handy as it would be if it would actually show me a SQL error telling me exactly what was wrong. So now I know what I'm dealing with. So the first thing you do once you have SQL injection is you try to find how many columns there are. So it's union, and you have to use a plus instead of a space here. So it isn't going to, because the get URL, a space would terminate it, but a plus doesn't. So union select, and then null, and then dash dash for a comment character. So if I've done this correctly, this will select one field and put a null in there, which will fit in any data type. So if it's a number or text or whatever it is, a null is valid. And this would make one column of null to add. So if I send that, the response is an internal server error again. So it doesn't take it. Now, it could be a lot of things that are wrong. For example, if the comment is wrong, it won't work. Depending on what kind of SQL injection, dash dash I think is for Microsoft. This is for, I think, MySQL, the pound. You might need that. So I can send that. And again, it's internal server error, so I don't think it was that. Another thing it could be is that I just have more than one column. So let's send two columns and go back to dash dash. If I had the SQL server error, it would say it failed because you have the wrong number of columns, but I'm not able to see the error. All I get is a 500. So I have to guess what the error might be. Now, I still have internal server error. And if I put in a third column of null, I'm still getting internal server error, and this is troubling me. So let me go take a look at the instructions. I didn't before. Let's see now how to. All right, so let's see what they have here for a solution. Well, they just want to give you data or 1 equals 1. That's probably what I did. All right, I'm going too far. They just want me to. I didn't read the instructions. They want me to display all products. Okay. Well, in that case, that's why I'm making this too hard. I'm jumping ahead. This is what the thing I was just doing is what we'll have to do later. But of course, when you're just going to display all products, then all you have to do is make a condition that is always true. You don't need to add a second command. So you can do or 1 equals 1 dash dash. So that will show them all. All right. And there I win. And the response shows a lot of products. Okay, this one was too simple. I was skipping ahead to the more complicated one. So let's go on to the next one, which is this one. All right. And we're going to login bypass. And this is the one, just minor variation on the previous one. This is the one where you don't even need burp. If you open the lab too fast, by the way, it's not up yet. I think it's launching a container in the background. You'll see. Okay, good. This fooled me in a previous class into thinking City College was blocking these pages, but it's not. It's just if you move too fast, it's not there. So you have the login page here, and they told us to log in as administrator. And they're using a password here. If I put in random junk and log in, then it tells me invalid username. But if I put in an apostrophe, I get a server error. So that's my detection that it does have a SQL injection vulnerability. Because it should just tell me the password is invalid, but that created a syntax error. So whoops, what have I done here? So I'm going to fouled it up. Refresh. Continue. Okay. So how do I get back? Back to home. My account. All right. So now I just have to do the same thing here. I put in administrator, and I put in the same thing, apostrophe, space, or 1 equals 1 dash dash. And now you can't see it, but that's what it is. Apostrophe, space, or 1 equals 1 dash dash. That should get me in. It's a condition that's always true, and now I'm in. See. So it's a small variation on the last one. The first 5 or 6 of these are very gentle, a very simple technique, one simple step at a time. Then suddenly it gets a whole lot harder. So it's not perfect pedagogically. But anyway, now we're going to, this is the union attack, which I was trying to show you earlier. So now we want to find the number of columns sent out by the query. So let me get the lab up here. All right. So it's got a SQL injection in the product category filter, and we want to find out how many columns there are. So, all right, that's ready. Let me go and clear out the old stuff in burp. HTTP history. All right, and now click, say, pets. And there's the request for category pets. So I send that to the repeater. And as always, the first thing I do is just send it to make sure it'll work in the repeater, and it does. I get a 200 OK, and I can render it, and it shows me the list of pets, so it's working. Now, here's the pets it found, and I would like to add other data here by changing the request due to SQL injection. So for that, it's going to be apostrophe plus union plus select null dash dash. This might do it. This would give me a single null to add to it. Let's see what that does. I get internal server error. So it could be a variety of things, but the simplest thing is I don't have enough columns. So I change the number of nulls. And it's still internal server error, so I try 3. And now I win. It works. It took it and printed out the stuff and added some null, 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 which you can't see, but you can see an empty row here. This is the row that contains null, null, null. All right, so now I found out how many columns there are, and that's all we want to do with that one. The next one, this is going to be the steps you go through. First, you find the vulnerability, then you find the number of columns, then you do here. What we're going to do is find a column containing text. So same thing. We go access the lab here. Now it's going to tell us what our goal is at the top of this page. Okay, now it's not enough to just inject nulls. We want to inject this string, BLWC or whatever this, it's going to force us to inject that data into this table. So let me include a burp and clean off the old stuff. All right, now go here and go to a filter like lifestyle. And now go to the repeater. And as always, the first thing is just send it and make sure it works. And it does work. And now modify it. So if I put an apostrophe in, now I get an error. So that means it's vulnerable to SQL injection because it shouldn't have broken just from having in a funny character. It should have discarded it or something, but it shouldn't have broken. So now it looks like I can do this stuff plus union select null dash dash. And now I get an internal server error. So if it's the Microsoft type database where dash dash is the right comment, then the problem is not enough nulls. So that's the first thing to try is more nulls. Still internal server error. And 3 of them. Now I get a response. So I've found the right number of columns and I've verified that it's a Microsoft database and the dash dash works. So this is good. Now I want to put that text in one of these columns. And I don't know which columns are text, although, by the way, I could it's probably this one, right? This looks like a text field. That's a dollar field. I don't know what the other one is. One of those is the text field. Might be the first one, but there's no real reason it should be in the same order presented here as it is in the database. So I don't really know what column it is. So I'm going to just try putting in that stuff they wanted me to put in there. And I wonder if I have a space there. I don't. Quite good. So I'm going to try putting the respected thing in the first column, which would make it look right. And it fails. Internal server error. So apparently the first column is not a text field. So I'm going to put a null before it and get rid of one of these nulls after it. All right, so it's in the second column. And that was it. It worked. And so now I've added that data to this field. So that's how you can add some data. All right. And so here we're going to retrieve data. The same technique. Let me get the lab going. It's very much the same thing. In the product category filter, there's SQL injection. You can use union to retrieve data, and you can retrieve it from other tables. And they tell you there's a table called users with columns called username and password. So we know what we're trying to do here. So let's get the old stuff out of burp. And go here and go to a filtered thing like pets. And there's the request that filtered category pets. Send it to the repeater. And as always, first just make sure it works this way. And I do see a 200, so it will let me repeat it. That's good. All right. And the apostrophe will break it as before, showing that it does have a SQL injection vulnerability. That makes a server error. So if I try to make union, now the first thing I'm going to have to do really is find out how many columns there are again. So select plus null dash dash. All right, that's an error. So maybe there's 2 columns. And there are 2 columns. Okay, that worked. Okay, good. So now I can go here. And I want to select username and password. So username and password from users. There. That might do it. I got username spelled wrong. Username, comma, password from users. Looks pretty good. Let's see if that works. And there it is, administrator and password. And to win, you have to log in as the administrator. So there's the administrator's password, and I can't copy from this screen some weird thing about burp, so I got to go down to raw and find it. There's Wiener, and administrator is here. Okay, so there's the password for administrator. So what is this garbage? Oh, I got to plug in my power. All right, so administrator and the password in my clipboard. Administrator and that password. There we are. I'm in as administrator. All right. And this is close to the ones you've done in my projects to practice here. Here's one where you have to retrieve multiple values in a single column. Again, let me just get the lab started. It's going to be in the product category filter. There's a column called users, a column called username and password, just like before. And I want to get the information to log in as administrator, but I'm not going to have two text columns anymore to put them in. So, once again, I got to go to burp, clean off the old stuff in the history. Run one of these filters. Get the post that does the filtering, which, there it is, category tech gifts. Had a little extra Google junk going on in the background. Go to repeater. Okay, first thing is run it the way it is to make sure it works, because it doesn't always, but it's a 200 okay, so that's fine. Okay, then an apostrophe should give me an error if it's SQL injection vulnerable. And it does, so that's good. So now I'm going to do union select null, and you can see how things like SQL map work. They just have this pattern of things to try in order. Select null, see if I have a column, and I got an error, so perhaps it's the wrong number of columns. So null, comma, null. Okay, 2 columns again. All right. Now, I think I can't, let's try putting text in there, like A, in the first column. Now I have an error, so that's bad. So maybe the second column is text. Let's give null, comma. Oops. There. See if that works. And it does work. So the second column will take an A, and there's the A. So I can pump data into that column, and I can see the data. So now I just have to put the right data there. And so this is going to be select null, username, plus from users. All right, that should get me something. Send that. And I highly recommend taking small steps like this so you know what the problem is if something breaks. So now I should get a username, and I got a username. All right, I got all the usernames, Carlos, administrator, and Wiener. So good. So the administrator's in there. Now I need the password too, and I only have one column, so it's going to be concat of username, and I'll put a delimiter in, like a colon, and then password. There. That should put both of them in one column. And now I get administrator password, Wiener password, Carlos password. There we go. So now, again, I got to go to the raw version to copy it out of burp. It doesn't let you select from there, page render. There we are. I can copy the password, and again, that should get me in. So administrator and that password. And there we go. All right. And I'm not sure. Looks like I did the next couple. Okay, so here, we're going to get the database, and this is going to be an Oracle database. What we were doing now was a Microsoft SQL Server database, I think. Now they're going to go to Oracle. And so, an Oracle database, you have to specify the table every time, and they say there's one table you can use called dual that will work. So, that's a thing to know. All right, and there's a SQL injection cheat sheet, which we're going to need for all the future ones, and this shows you things like string concatenation in Oracle, a substring, comments. This is like super important. So the MySQL has the pound, and oh, you have to space after the double dash. Maybe this is why I'm having so much trouble with double dash. In MySQL, I never knew about the space requirement. That might be why other people can use a dash dash and I don't. Anyway, to get the database version, we have to select banner from $v instance. We'll get there. But anyway, I was mostly just interested in the comment. Dash dash will work on Oracle. Good. So let's go get the request we're going to play with, which is proxy, clear the old stuff, and go to the web page. Oh, looks like I forgot to launch the lab. All right. All right. Click one of these, and that will give me a filtered thing. Now I just need to find that in burp. There it is, category equals lifestyle. So I go to repeater. Okay. Now the first thing I do is send it to make sure I can repeat it, and it does work. So next thing I do is put in an apostrophe to find the vulnerability. And I've got an error, so that shows the vulnerability. So now I can do select, and they said you can do like ABC from dual. There's some table that's always there, so that might work. And I still have an error, so I'm going to go back. Now I might have a problem with the number of columns. So let's try selecting null from dual, because it might be that text can't fit there, for one thing. And then I might have multiple columns. So I can think a few things might be wrong here. Let's try select null from dual. And I get an error. But I think the comment is okay from that cheat sheet. So I think it's probably just the number of columns. Still internal server error. Let's see if I have 3 columns. Still an error. So this is, I think, one of the ones where I had to use the hints. Select null, null, null from dual. Do I have an apostrophe there or something? I do have a quote up there. Wait a minute, that's the problem. I got a stupid... I missed a quote instead of a plus sign. Nothing's ever going to work that way. There, this looks better. Let's try this one. Okay, it's still a server error, but now I've got to go back and try the less number of columns, because that funny character would make them all fail. Let's see if 2 columns work. Okay, 2 columns doesn't work. Let's see if 1 column works. No, all right. So let's cheat and look at the hint, because somehow I'm on the wrong track. Select ABC from dual. Select ABCDEF from dual. That looks exactly like what I'm doing. Maybe you can't select nulls on Oracle. I wonder if the cheat sheet would tell me that. Null. There's null. Oracle, else null, end from dual. Well.
Which lab you're doing now?
What's that?
Which lab you're doing now?
This one here on Oracle, and it's not taking my nulls, so maybe nulls are not allowed. So let's get something to work, and then we can see if it works. So they said if I just use text here, A, B, C, and D, E, F, that will work. Comma.
Query database type and version on Oracle.
Yeah, it could be, but it's query, I don't know, something about Oracle. The first Oracle one. And I'm getting weird problems. Let's see if this does anything. So I'm always getting server error. Let's see if I can do exactly what they did. There. Union select A, B, C, D, E, F from dual. All right, what am I doing that's different than this? Seems like now I'm doing exactly that and it doesn't work. I must be making a typo or something. If I paste in the stuff in the clipboard, it's that. So let's get this garbage out of here. All right, so what is the difference between what I did and what they did? Union? Oh, I'm missing the union. Oh, for crying out loud. All right. That's ridiculous. And I'm going to stick with the one I made. Thought I was on the right track. I just don't have union there. Nothing's going to work. Union. There. Union select A, B, C, D, E, F from dual. Now we're getting somewhere. Now I send it. Okay, now it works. Now, in order to avoid going nuts, I'm going to go back and put in nulls just to make sure nulls work, because I think nulls do work if you obey the other syntax rules. And there we are. Nulls work and text work in both columns. So now, what was the goal? The goal was to get the Oracle, the version of Oracle. And so for that, we get that from the cheat sheet. To get the version of Oracle, you have to do that. Select banner from VS version, $V version. So I'll just copy that. And so I'm going to select banner, null from, whoa, my copy paste did not work. Copy, all right. Paste, there we go, from $V version. That should do it. That should put, the second field should have the version in it. And not seeing it though. All right, looks like, but it didn't crash. So, all right. See anything extra in here? Core 111 production. That looks kind of like it. They want me to show you all this garbage. Express release. Yep, there it is. Something about production. 64-bit Core 111 production. It's there. Core 1120 production. So it is working, I think. I don't see why I'm not winning yet, but raw. I did see, here it is. That's it. Edition, release, version, production. Okay, so that worked. It doesn't seem, oh man, probably just not looking at the right page. It probably will tell me I won. Maybe not. Anyway, I think I've got it working. Maybe I have to put it in the first column to win. That would be rude. Nope, they did banner null from version, yeah. Now let's try that. I don't think it's giving me credit for winning. Although maybe it just popped up and faded in time. Let's just send it again.
I didn't see it.
It does not say I won. So that's rude. Let's see what happens if I put it in the other column. Well, banner null is what I did. All right, I think I won, but I'm not seeing it giving credit for winning, which is annoying. That would annoy you as a student more than me, I think. See, I'm probably still making some kind of mistake, but it's appearing on the page. That should count as winning. Oh, I didn't send it to here. But actually, it's not trivial to send it there. Anyway, I think I've got it. I don't see why I'm not getting credit. I got credit last time I did it. I must be making some kind of mistake that I can't see. Anyway, all right. And I think I'll do one more of these. I think that's when I hit ones that got annoying. I got down to here, so let's try this one. This is database type and version on MySQL on Microsoft. And if anybody, no union. Oh, if somebody put on no union. If you see why I'm not getting credit for it, that would be nice. I don't know why it's not popping up giving me credit for that one I solved. But anyway, this one here is going to be using Microsoft and MySQL. And the point is, if I go to the SQL injection cheat sheet for version, it's add version. In Microsoft and MySQL, it's the same. All I have to do is select add version. So, however, if it's Microsoft and MySQL, then I thought you had to use a pound for the comment because I didn't read this carefully enough. According to this, if I use a -- space, it'll work on both Microsoft and SQL. So that's interesting. So that will improve my SQL injection knowing that. So let's clean off the old stuff here. Proxy, history, clean out the old stuff. Now get a filter. Okay. And there's the request. I'm just trying to stay disciplined and always go through the steps here. So first I send it without changing anything. And the response is okay, so that's good. And now I can put in the apostrophe and I should get the error. And I do. Okay, so now I should be able to do plus union, plus select, plus null, plus -- plus. There, that should be a comment that will work even on MySQL. Let's see if that's true. Send. Response is error. That might be just because of the wrong number of columns. Let's try another null. See if one more null works. Got to have a comma there, and I've got something else. Okay. Okay, I'm still getting an error, so I'm fouling it up somehow. All right, what I found before is I couldn't use this -- stuff. That's what I'm not so sure about. Let's try a pound. Okay, let's get down to 2 columns. Okay, let's see if I have 1 column. Union, select, null. No, okay, I'm fouling it up again. I probably fouled this up. It's apostrophe, union, select, null, then a pound. All right, let's see if I can understand anything from the hint. What have I done wrong? Union select, A, B, C, D, E, F. This should work, which is just what I'm doing now, so how am I getting it wrong again? I must have a bad character in there or something. They want me to do this, and that seems like exactly what I'm doing, or it's certainly what I'm trying to do. Okay, union, gifts, apostrophe, plus union, plus select. Have I spelled something wrong? Union, select, plus null. And there's 2 columns, so it's null, comma, null. Pound. All right, that should work. I'm probably just making typos. Nope, still internal server error. All right, let's try A, B, C, D, E, F. Does somebody see what I did? I mistyped select. Ah, thank you. Good. I knew it was going to be something stupid like that. Ah, thank you. I misspelled select. Thank you. I'm going nuts here. But that's the problem. When you make enough typos, it becomes impossible. Good. Now it works. Thank you. And now I go to request. Now I can put in nulls. Okay. And now I'm looking for the version, so I should be able to put in add version in one of these. And that should display the version somewhere. I'm looking for Ubuntu, So if I go to raw, I can search for Ubuntu and make it retrieve that. And there's 2 matches. So I tried to go to the second match and somehow it didn't happen. There it is. So it worked. And once again, somehow it's not telling me I won, which is annoying. But anyway, I did make it print out that thing. So, all right. Thank you. I'm glad you folks found the error. Anyway, that's as far as I'm going to go. You see, I'm making enough mistakes. That's far enough for one day. But one thing I want to mention, which another student asked, one of these down here, you can't do without the pro version of Burp. So you may not remember I mentioned that before. Some of them, which one?
There are 2 of them.
There's 2 of them, yeah. So it tells you need Burp Collaborator, then you need the pro version of Burp to do that. So you can either skip it. What's that?
Or the enterprise version.
Yeah, the professional or professional.
Pro version and the enterprise version.
Pro and enterprise, yeah.
There are 2 of them.
There's 2 of them. Oh, the pro version doesn't have Collaborator?
There's a pro, there's an enterprise, and there's a community. So
Yeah. It's not in the community version, yeah. So anyway, but you can get a 30 or 90-day trial of the pro version if you want to and do them, or you can just skip it and do the other projects, which is what I do. Just be aware of that. A couple of these require the...
Pro version?
What's that?
Yeah, that 90-day pro version?
Yes. You can get the pro version for 30 or 90 days. Just go to the website where you download Burp. And so then you can play with it. Yep. All right. So I'm going to stop the recording. That's enough for tonight.